This is the advice that we give everybody, which is to start with what you know. Start with yourself and work your way backwards in time, documenting information. Hi everybody, Krista Cowan here with another episode of The Barefoot Genealogist. As some of you may know, February is Black History Month, and so for a couple of episodes this month, we're going to be talking about how to do research in records that pertain particularly to African Americans. Today's episode is going to be really basic, just very beginner for those of you who are getting started and want to know how best to do research into these records, what records are available. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll do another episode that goes a little bit more in depth into some of the records that are available, some of the challenges that you might face as you do research for this particular ethnicity. So with that introduction, let's get started. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do here is just begin by documenting what you know. Now, this is no different than anybody else doing genealogy. This is the advice that we give everybody, which is just start with what you know. Start with yourself and work your way backwards in time, documenting information about your own birth, your parents' marriage, their birth, any death information along the way, and collect information as you go. Then I would recommend that you use the filters that are available on Ancestry.com. And I'll show you some of those here in just a minute, but let me just let you know specifically two things you should be looking for. The first thing on any search box is to pay attention to the collection priority. And then the second thing is where there is a race field available, go ahead and use that. Depending on the record you're searching, race was sometimes included in the information that was requested on the record and also the information that was indexed. So let's look at those specifically. First of all, that collection priority. You're going to find that on any search box. If you scroll down towards the bottom, just above the search button, you're going to see this collection priority. Now in there, we have all sorts of options for country-specific collections that you can narrow your search down to. Or you'll see here at the very bottom of that, we have 3 specific ethnicities, with African American being one of those. So you can select that, and what it will do is, as you search, it will surface the records that pertain to African Americans closer to the top of your search results if you're searching by ranked rather than specifically by category. Now just underneath that collection priority box, you have this little checkbox that says show only records that pertain to African Americans. Your search results differ when you click that and you have it checked exactly. It will only return records that say that specifically. Now if you leave it unchecked, what will happen is we'll do searches on a lot of variations of that. So as you all know, not everybody in a specific record would have listed that they were Black. And throughout history, there were different politically correct terms for what we would call, and sometimes politically quadroon. And so you end up with all of these different who have that listed specifically. If you also, just kind of as a side note here, if you have African Americans selected as the collection priority, selected as my collection priority, and I've listed Black as the exact race that I'm searching for. Now, if I was viewing my search results here by relevance, what I'm going to see is, again, stuff that filters to the top of the list that's going to be more likely what I'm looking for, as opposed to searching by category, where I'm looking for something very specific in a search result. Okay, so that's how those two fields work together. Again, that's going to be race and collection priority. Now, back over here to our PowerPoint. Oh, let's try that again. Let me just give you one other piece of advice or information about the kinds of records that are available. I would encourage you strongly to explore what records are even available for African American research. Now, we know, of course, that if you're living in the United States, that you're going to be enumerated on the census from 1870, after the Civil War. That was the first federal census after the Civil War, from 1870 through 1930, which is the most recently available U.S. federal census. The 1940 census comes out in April. So the census is going to be the best place to start that exploration. Um, those records can be found very easily and quickly, either by doing a search like I just did, and you'll see here you have census results that come up, or you can hover over this search button here and click on census and voter lists and go directly to a search form that searches just censuses. Or, I love that there's so many options, right? You can go down to the card catalog, and if you know you're looking for somebody in a very specific census, you can say, I'm looking for my grandparents in the 1930 census. You can type that in, and it'll come up here at the top of the list. Then you can go directly to the 1930 census. Again, pay attention to the fact that there is a race field available to you, and then search for the person or people that you are searching for. Now, when you do that, let's just do a search here for this William Johnson in Alabama. I only want to see William Johnsons that are living in Alabama. William Johnson was born in about 1845, and he was born in Alabama. And again, clicking on this race field, and now I'm going to click search. What you're going to see here then are the search results for exactly what we looked here for. The only thing I marked exact was Alabama as a residence, and we start to see some of the potential search results here that we can then filter through. Now, when you hover over a view record, you get a little pop-up preview, so you can just double check that the race is listed here. Like I said, it will always surface those ones that fit your search results near the top of the list, but as things start to not match, you'll quickly see here we're at the third search result, and already this guy is listed as white, but everything else matched, which is why it showed us this particular search result. Okay, and then after that, then we start seeing things that don't match at all, right? But but like the last name's the same and the birth year's the same. So those search results are ranked based on what it is that you searched for. So generally, the more information you have, the more likely your person is going to surface near the top of the list. So census records are absolutely a great place to start with anybody doing genealogy, to just kind of build a framework for what's available. Now, there is another website that I'm going to recommend to you to explore what kinds of records are available for African American research. The easiest way to get to this website is ancestry.com/AA for African American History. That will take you to a landing page that looks like this. Oh, I just refreshed it. There we go. It looks like this. Okay. So you have here a search box that allows you to search entire databases or collections that are specific to African American history and heritage. You can also search the U.S. Census specifically. Kind of functions the same way as those